Hi, Polly, John. Thanks for joining us. Can you talk us a little bit through your journey from White Chalk, which was, I'm guessing, the last time you collaborated together, obviously produced on the album, to A Man and a Woman, and your decision to decide to kind of come together and collaborate jointly on an album together again?
It's been a long time, obviously, since we last co-wrote a record together. Something like 12 or 13 years since Dance Hall at Louse Point. And it was actually after I'd finished writing the songs for White Chalk, and I knew already that I wanted Flood and John to co-produce that record for me. And I was in a process of sort of reorganising myself and my songs. I often end up with a backlog of songs that don't get used for certain projects. So I was collating those, and I came across a cassette tape of a song called Black Hearted Love that John and I had made maybe 6 or 7 years prior to that. And it was actually a piece of music that John had written and given to me and asked me for a lyric idea for one of his solo albums. And we'd never used it, or he'd never used it. And it was at that moment that I thought, it just seems like the right time for us to make a record. And the song seemed so good to me. It seemed like such a waste that nobody had ever done anything with it. So I called him and just to see if he was open to the idea, which he was. And that's where this journey began, really. It was even prior to actually going into the studio to record White Chalk.
How do you feel you've both changed since your first collaborative album to now, in terms of how you work together, in terms of your sound and your style, both separately and together?
Well, I think we both feel that we've sort of progressed quite considerably as writers and performers in that intervening 12 years. I mean, it's kind of interesting because generally when you're making a series of records, you don't have that big gap where you can kind of really see starkly how different you are, in that period of time. It was a really clear opportunity when we made the new record to go back to Dance Hall at Louse Point and see where we were 13 years ago. And so, I mean, I'm really proud of that record, so I think it stands up very well. But I see it as writers, we were really not as capable of fully realising the ideas that we had. So there were some really good ideas that sort of remain good ideas, but we just weren't as able as we are today to realise them properly.
Did you actually sit down and listen to Dancehall before you started this project, or?
I didn't before.
Not before, no. It was more after when we thought. I mean, when we made this record, we knew the new record, A Woman, a Man Walked By. We knew we wanted to play the songs live, and so it seemed obvious and natural to play the songs from Dancehall as part of the same concert. And so then we both independently went back to listen to Dancehall, and that's when we thought, yeah, we've kind of moved on. We've moved on quite a bit from there.
How do you feel looking ahead at going on the road together? I mean, obviously you've done a lot of work separately, performing together. I mean, when was the last time you actually performed live together and going on tour as a twosome now?
Well, we're actually going out as a fivesome.
Oh, as a fivesome. Oh, with the rest of your band, yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's been a long time at all. Often when I'm touring with a band and John's not involved in the band or indeed in the record in any way, if we're playing near him, I'll say, do you want to come and play? And he'll come and play. And it's an ongoing relationship that we have as good friends. So it's quite natural that I might join his band on stage or he might join mine. But the last time that we actually set out on a tour together is this
98,
Desire
yeah, this
tour,
Desire
98.
tour.